In this video, I'll show you how to model a Rubik's Cube with subdivision-friendly topology. Alright, so we're going to start off with a cube. Let's just go ahead and tab into edit mode here, and we'll subdivide this. We'll now switch to edge mode and select each edge that we created, and we'll bevel this by a value of 0.9. Now these are going to serve as a control loop. Now I'm going to scroll upward, or I'll just change the segments here to 2, and we're going to get an additional set of loops in the middle here, which we will select again and bevel by a value of 0.8. And the reason we're doing this is so that we have a proper bevel. A single set of edge loops are not going to create the ideal bevel. Now we'll scroll down in order to remove these additional edges there, and we'll hit enter. And now we'll just select the face at the top and bottom, and we will expand our selection till we cover the faces on the top and bottom, and then we'll inset that by a value of 0.05, and this is going to go ahead and pull that 3-spoke pole in the corner away from the edge. Now that we have this, we can now go ahead and subdivide this. So I've gone ahead and added a subdivision surface modifier to this, and now we'll just tab back and go into edit mode. We'll select the face here, we'll select similar by area, and then we're going to expand the selection, and then we're going to invert that selection like so. And we'll just head on down to our material properties here, and we'll just add a new material, and we'll give this a black color, and we'll say assign. Now don't forget to change to material preview so that you can see what's happening. Now we'll go ahead and select this and expand that. We'll again create a new material, so we're going to give this a yellow color, and we'll just assign that like so. Select the top, expand it, and basically repeat the same process. Create a new material, select the color we want, and then assign it. Now let's add the blue color here. So I'm just eyeballing the color, not being too precise, and I'm just going to go ahead and turn this around. Right. So I will undo. Okay, let's just keep it as it is. So opposite yellow is white. So we're going to expand this again, create a new material, and we'll leave this as white and assign it, and come to the bottom. So orange is opposite red. We'll expand that, create a new material, assign the orange color to this, say OK, and opposite blue is going to be green. So select this side, expand it, and we'll go with a green color, just bring down the value a bit, and that looks okay. So at this point we can go ahead and array things, but I'm going to be a little pedantic, and what I want to do is I want this face to have a bevel on it. So I'm just going to add some additional geometry. So let's just go ahead and shade smooth as well, so that we get rid of that tessellated look. And now what I'm going to do is basically select the face in the middle, and again select by area, and I'm going to expand that selection till we cover all the colored faces, and I'm going to inset this by a value of 0.05. Then I'll select the faces that make up the boundary of this, and I'll just repeat that on all sides. And rather than insetting this time, we're going to go ahead and outset this. So I'll say outset by a value of maybe 0.02, something like that. And that should give us somewhat of a bevel. Now we want to improve this, so what we're going to do is start adding some loops to this. So now you can see that that is a much better bevel. So I'll go ahead and repeat this on all the faces till it looks okay. So I'm just checking to make sure that I've added all the loops that I need. And that looks okay to me. Now all this additional geometry can be removed if needed, after our textures are baked into the image. So let's now go ahead and open up our modifier tab, and let's add an array modifier. We will increase the count here in the modifier tab by 3, and we will then create another array. This time we will change the count again to 3, but we'll zero out the X factor, and we will then increase the Y factor. Now create one more array to get the bottom, and increase the count to 3 again, zero out the X factor, and give it 1 in the Z-axis. Now if you want to push the realism a little bit more, what we can do is just hide the modifiers here, come back to the cube that we were initially working on, and if you observe a Rubik's cube, you'll notice that the colored tiles are actually inset into this. So they are typically a separate piece that are added on to the main body. So we'll tab into edit mode, we'll select the face here, we will hold down Shift G to select by area again, and we'll expand the selection till we cover all the colored faces. So once we've gone ahead and done that, what we'll do is separate this by selection. So once I've separated this by selection, I'll go ahead and I'll select the newly separated faces. I'll head on over to our modifier tab, and I'll add a solidify modifier to this. So let's go ahead and select that. Scroll all the way to the bottom of the stack, and we'll basically say even thickness and rim only, so that we don't have that additional geometry on the inside. We'll repeat the same thing for the beveled area. So again, select the solidify modifier and basically check all the boxes. So now let's go ahead and tab back out and take a look. So now you'll see that the colored tiles are also catching the highlights. And so let's go ahead and turn back our modifiers. And voila, you have a high quality model of a Rubik's Cube. Alright, so before we go ahead and call it a day, let me show you how to rotate these pieces. So the first thing I'm going to do is just select our different objects, and I'll combine them by hitting Ctrl J on the keyboard. And then I'll just apply our array modifier. And let's just go ahead and turn off our subdivision surface modifier so that it doesn't hamper our performance. Alright, so now that I've gone ahead and done that, I'll select our object here, and I will head on over to object and set origin to geometry. That way the origin is going to be right in the center of our object, and then I will hold down Shift S and send the object to the 3D cursor. That way things are centered, and any rotation that we perform will behave in a predictable manner. So now what I'm going to do is tab into edit mode, and we're going to want to separate out each piece here. So we'll separate each piece out so that we can rotate them. Now I'm just going to hit L on the keyboard. So go ahead and hit L on the keyboard so that we can select all the linked objects, and hit P on the keyboard to separate by selection. Now I'm going to do this for all the pieces, and this is extremely tedious, so I'm going to save you the trouble and come back once this is all done. I've gone ahead and completed the tedious task of separating each one of these into separate little pieces. Now, while doing so, you might have noticed that we have some additional geometry on the inside, and we can just turn that off. So that's left over from the modeling process. So we can just go ahead and turn that off. And now if we want to rotate these faces, we can just select a set like this, rotate it, define the axis, and give it a value. I've given it a value of 90 degrees on the z-axis. Now let's go ahead and turn some more faces here. So give it a value of 90 degrees on the y-axis, like so. Now while rotating, you'll notice that we actually have some missing faces here, and this can all be filled up. So I'll just go ahead and fill these up and show you what that looks like. I've gone ahead now and filled in all those faces, so now when you're animating this, you will notice that we have all the faces filled in, so you'll not have any empty gaps. If you'd like to study this model that I have created, you can download a copy from my Gumroad page. And that brings us to the end of this video. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below, and I will talk to you in the next one.